everybody at Bitcoin Amsterdam. We're here together again, Steph and I, and talking again with Lisa, Niftynei. And great to have you again.
In person.
Here and meet in person. It's so strange for us because we talk with a lot of people more times, and then we just know them, and now it's
great
different.
to be here in person.
Now it's natural.
Yeah, you guys have like hometown advantage here, kind of.
You've been to Amsterdam before? Or?
Yeah, but I didn't like it the first time.
No, but not to the conference, right? You just
first
Amsterdam.
time, just Amsterdam. I guess that's the difference. I didn't hang out with Bitcoiners last time I was here. I didn't have a good time.
That makes a difference.
Okay. And when did you arrive?
I got here on Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, so lots of time to kind of walk around. Went to the Bitcoin developer meetup here.
Oh, that's great. The Socrative one. Yeah.
Really great thing they're doing here. Yeah. So if you're ever in Amsterdam, just look to see if they're doing a bit dev. Really recommend it.
It's a very healthy Bitcoin environment now. There's so many things going on, and people find each other. It's
Well, and from a developer perspective, it's incredible how many very talented Bitcoin developers are here in Amsterdam. Or you've got. Well, maybe I shouldn't dox anyone necessarily, but you've got some very good talent here.
Well, let's light out then. Let's highlight, because you did a talk a couple of hours ago with René Pickard and Christian Decker about. What was it about? Maybe you could.
Yeah. So the topic was supposed to be about limitations of Lightning, which I've been working in Lightning with René and Christian for over 5 years now. It's crazy because I think both of them started before I did, and I am at this point like an old school Lightning spec person. So it was really fun to get to hop up on stage and talk with them for only 30 minutes. I had kind of been joking. René likes to, so René is and Christian also, but René in particular is a Lightning researcher, right? So he spends all his time trying to solve the problems. Anytime you meet him at spec meetings or on panels, he just gets into like, Lightning is broken, we have to fix it, here's all the problems. So I had been joking that this panel was going to be our airing of grievances against Lightning. I feel like we could have gone a little more grievance. I think we kind of kept it a little too happy, honestly. So I was a little disappointed that we didn't get
because
more.
I thought, I also read the tweets of René and the last month. Every time he's very critical in a good way. And I think it's also you see both things, right? So it's criticism, but it's also the hard work in research and always thinking about, shall I get this grant to research this topic together with other people? I think it's very important, and he's doing a great job, and it's good to emphasize also the difficulties that are still to be solved. I remember that also from Chaincode, that the end session about limitations of the Lightning network were the most interesting ones, because that's where the difficulties are that show that it's not fully ready for real mainstream usage.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think these are the kinds of problems that are the sort of thing that we'll have to work kind of almost forever to try and fix, right?
Yeah.
Like, part of me is like, these problems are unsolvable. I think they're great problems. I think we can definitely do a lot better around the stuff, and René is definitely leading the charge in terms of identifying problems and then trying to come up with ways to fix them. So, like, super kudos to him on that. But I think that, like, one of the things that, I look at it and I'm like, these problems are inherently unsolvable, and it's great because it means that there will always be like some inefficiency and a place that like people maybe can, I don't know, maybe this is like bad, but I'm like, there's like an opportunity for a market for people to help solve these problems. And so I think that's good for Lightning. If it was perfectly efficient and worked amazing, then we wouldn't have people building businesses on it, but maybe that's not totally.
And what I really like about René, because we also had him in the show, and when we finished the recording, we were like a bit philosophizing about the future, and he was like, I'm not a philosopher, he said, I'm just a researcher, I'm just finding problems,
sticking to the facts,
and I'm not here to to think about future outcomes of the Lightning Network. I'm just here to address problems, and that is what I like the most. I'm not saying that he isn't a good philosopher, because obviously he's a good philosopher too. But that's what I like most, just that, he's a really straight up guy and really into addressing problems within the Lightning Network. So
Also fun that some of the problems, they say, well, the time and effort and the costs are so high, nobody's going to do it. But it is a liability, and that's interesting.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah, well, last time we talked a lot about Base58, your Bitcoin education academy, and specifically about the amazing LARP Bitcoin Workshop. And you put up a Geiser campaign right after the show. How did it go? Because it was your first Geiser campaign,
we tried the best to organize a LARP here, right? But
that's right.
We had too short time, right? So we got in contact to the guys from BTC Inc. And but I think maybe for next year, and also the facilities aren't there yet.
They were
for us to
interested, but and perhaps we can do it at a side event or something only for that. But
yeah, I have everything in town. So if you guys want.
And then you need the packages to sell it on the spot, right?
Yeah, so far up until now, I've been the only person that knows how to run them, right? So for people who aren't aware what the LARP is, what are we talking about, right? Yeah.
What is it, LARP?
Yeah, so someone's asked me about it earlier, and I kind of, it's almost like live theater, or it's a 2-hour gameplay, but interactive participant theater, right? And so you have someone who's explaining to you kind of how Bitcoin at the base layer, what a blockchain is, and you get into groups, and so it's almost like this group game where you do exercises and write on papers that are little Bitcoin transactions, and then you have strings that are little wires that you send transactions around on. And so it really takes Bitcoin and how Bitcoin and blockchain, how that works, and when you try and explain it to people, and mining, we have mine blocks and stuff in the game, but so much of I find this with tech just in general, even the internet, or how does email work?
Yeah.
It's so
abstract.
It's so abstract.
Yeah.
It's someone can tell it to you, but you
not
almost
tangible.
Yeah, you end up in this it's narrative. It becomes just this story someone's telling you. You can't see it. It's not something you can accidentally trip across email wires. There's nothing to touch. And so the LARP game is this attempt to take Bitcoin, which is, oh my gosh, so complicated, and there's nothing else like Bitcoin. In tech even, there is nothing that works like proof of work.
No.
Proof of work is brand new. It's beautiful. It's incredible, but nothing else in the world works like that. And so when you take something brand new like that and let me explain you how mining, people are what? I mean, I people had to tell me how Bitcoin mining worked, and that took years. I had friends that would explain Bitcoin to me once a year for a couple years before I finally understood it, So the LARP is an attempt to just make it real and physical, and make you as a person able to you have to do the work that a Bitcoin node does. And so because you are suddenly responsible for doing all this work, maybe you'll appreciate what your node is doing better. I know, maybe better understand what all the parts are and what's happening. So it's super fun. It'll I make it sound like this big thing, but it only lasts 2 hours. It's a fun little it's as long as a movie, good movie. It takes 20, 30 people to get it to work, because turns out you need a lot of people to make the Bitcoin network work.
Yeah.
And what is important is that you have to experience it, and then you can perhaps give it yourself or host it yourself.
Yeah, so that's the plan. So we launched this Geiser fund, right? Yeah. So the LARP requires I don't know, there's a lot of pieces and stuff, and we're hoping to open source it. I've got a guy someone who played it in Prague, loved it, and wanted to do it in Germany. So he's been helping a lot with getting instructor manuals written, and what are all the things you need to buy. We're working, the Geiser fund was an attempt to fund us to go ahead and figure out how to try and build these kits for people, so that we could make a lot of them and get them out to more people. Having people build them one-on-one is nice, but sometimes that can be a lot of work. So it's okay, maybe we could just put a whole bunch together. So we launched a Geiser campaign to try and get communities, meetups, like anyone who like has a classroom maybe and wants one of these kits to try to use to apply, and then we would try and get the community to raise money so we could try and build a bunch and mail them out. It's going pretty good. We're about 22% of the way to our goal.
Cool.
Not
Amazing.
bad.
Yeah.
Cool. And last week you hosted the Bitcoin Plus Plus conference in Berlin. It's a developer-focused conference series. Can you explain again what it is, and can you also share a highlight from this event which you are proud of?
Yeah,
We would like to know.
definitely. So Bitcoin Plus Plus just happened in Berlin the 6th and 7th of October. It was our 4th ever Bitcoin Plus Plus. We started last June, so we've done 4 conferences
Cool,
in
that's
16
a lot.
months.
Yeah.
This was our first ever European one, which was super amazing. I think some of the coolest stuff that happened was just bringing together everyone that's been working on Nix projects so far. And so the number of new open source projects that are now adding Nix to their build system so that, it makes it such that other people who want to come on and contribute kind of can have the same experience on any new open source Bitcoin project.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll actually happen, but there's this whole chat group we've got of everyone who's at the conference, and Telegram is now talking about their projects that they're now working on making into Nix.
Yeah, that can give a spin-off to
Someone
more.
was like, how do we make Bitcoin Core Nix compatible? And so I think they're figuring that out. So I don't know. I think it looked last I checked on the chat. Yeah. Last I checked on the chat, it looked like they might do it as like a side project, not in the main repository.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it would be really, really cool if we could get Bitcoin Core on buildable with Nix. So that's
Awesome. Hey, we talked in another episode with Alex Bühler from Synonym about the importance of LSPs, Lightning Service Providers. And before to talk about Greenlight, of course, why is our LSP so important for the maturity of the Lightning Network? I think it's a no-brainer, but it's just there's so much buzz about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of buzz about it because it's a new and exciting kind of service that we can build on Lightning, right?
Yeah.
Kind of I was talking earlier about there's all these inefficiencies that are hard to get rid of. LSPs are like a good example of like a market opportunity, right? To take a really difficult problem that you really can't solve. So the problem liquidity service or Lightning service providers, maybe we should call them liquidity service providers because that's kind of what they really are, right? The liquidity problem, I think, is like, it's one of those hard problems that I literally don't think you can solve with like a protocol change. That's a human coordination problem. So LSPs are a service that are trying to make sure that when you use Lightning, you have liquidity and you can receive payments. What that means is when you need to receive a payment, you can receive it. And LSP is there to help you do that. They charge, how they do that is a hard problem, but they're kind of the opportunity to offload, thinking about that from just the day-to-day user who just wants to get paid and make payments and have it work and know what their balance is and not have to worry about like, can this person pay me? Like you want someone else to figure that out, it turns out. So the LSPs are really solving that problem, and I think it's a really important service. I think the downsides people always bring up about LSPs as a thing in the protocol or as a thing in the ecosystem is, well, there's two things. One is that it's centralizing, and the other is that it's maybe a little bit of a trusted relationship.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think those are both kind of hard things to get away from because you need someone to provide that liquidity, so that's naturally going to be like a centralizing like kind of force. At least at the end of the day, it's an open protocol, and you can have multiple LSPs, so it's not just one that you're relying on.
Yeah.
So my hope is that the LSP protocol kind of like works out such that you can have a wallet or you can have accounts with a bunch of different LSPs, and whichever one has the best like features or payment reliability, etc., will be the one that ends up being used, and you won't be like pinned into just one. You'll be able to use any of like a bunch.
Yeah. And well, let's talk about Greenlight from Blockstream, because this is a Lightning as a service. What makes Greenlight so different from to the others?
Yeah, so Greenlight is not an LSP, and I think this is confusing.
No, that's right.
No, I think this is a
Lightning
really
as a service.
good point. Yeah, but it's like, but this is such a good point, and it's like kind of so hard to wrap your head around if you're like not really familiar with how Lightning works, because it's like, oh, what's the difference? Well, LSP is the one who makes sure you get paid. Lightning as a service provider is the one who makes sure your node is running and that it's up and that it's moving and that nothing goes wrong with your like actual node.
And the LSP is about liquidity. That's another thing.
Liquidity service provider.
So with Greenlight, you can use any LSP.
Yes, I think that's right. Yeah. And the one that's built onto it already is Breeze. So Breeze is the first partner. They're the LSP that's using Greenlight for their Lightning infrastructure to try and build their SDK, which then makes building on Lightning as an app developer super easy, because Breeze helps you out with the liquidity, and Greenlight helps you out with keeping the nodes up and running in a self-sovereign as possible way.
But then the terms are just confusing. Lightning as a service, Lightning service provider.
That's what Lisa's saying. We need to change the explanation of the
terms.
abbreviation.
Yeah,
it's very complicated. Yeah, but the cool thing about Greenlight and what makes it kind of different to other like things like voltage, maybe. So if you look at voltage. In voltage, when you have a Lightning, so voltage would be probably a good example of another Lightning infrastructure provider, maybe a LIP. I don't know, LSP and a LIP.
You're making it way too confusing now.
Lightning node as a service, LN.
Yeah, Lightning.
AS.
I don't know, Lightning infrastructure, whatever. Lightning infra. So voltage is probably the best thing to compare Greenlight to, I think. Voltage, the big difference is that with voltage, when you have a Lightning node, your keys for the money on your node live in a server that's in Voltage data center. Greenlight the reason it took years for them to get it out. Christian's been working on this project for like, I want to say the last 3 years or something, like a long time. Finally launched it today in Amsterdam. Super excited I could be here for it. Really excited about that project. But the big difference between what Voltage has today and what Greenlight is doing is that with Greenlight, your keys live on your phone or on your home computer. So it's truly self-sovereign in terms of holding your own keys. And so all the complicated things about being online and having backups and keeping up with gossip is all in the cloud, and so that helps with payment reliability, node reliability, just like it's there. You don't have to worry about, is my node online falling off the internet, whatever.
So basically the trade-offs on doing it all by yourself are kept away by Blockstream, but you still have the self-sovereignty there. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
That's great.
Hey, our editors say that we need to wrap up. It's going so fast. And I had some extra questions, but let's end with the last one, Steph.
Yeah, well, you may ask him. It's your one.
This is a trick question. Try to explain splicing to a 5-year-old.
Okay. Oh no. All right, let's say a 5-year-old.
Splicing, yeah, well.
Well, maybe a 5-year-old who is pretty intelligent, right? Then maybe make it a little easier.
Already built his or her own
The
nodes.
thing about splicing is that I think that the thing that's hard to explain about splicing is that people already think Lightning can do what I think splicing does, and so when you tell them it couldn't do that already, they get confused and they're like, "Wait, you added something I thought you already could do?" And I'm like, "Yes, we did. Isn't that great?" And they're like, "Wait, what? Like, I thought you could always do that." It's complicated because it has to do with your on-chain Bitcoin and Lightning channels, right? So when you have a Lightning channel, it usually has a fixed balance of like there's only like, let's say, I don't know, 100,000 sats, a million sats in this channel. And then for the life of that channel, it's always a million sats. And there's always 2 people in that channel right now, and so maybe one has 500,000 sats, the other's 500,000. Like the balance goes back and forth, but it's always a million, right?
Yeah.
Splicing is the ability to take the channel. So right now, if you wanted to make it 2 million sats, for example,
you have to close it and open up a new one.
You have to close it and open a new one. That takes
it costs
2 transactions on chain. It takes time. You can't send payments through it with the existing million while you're waiting to get the extra million in there. Splicing fixes all of this. You make one transaction, you just splice in more money, and now you have 2 million channel. And then you
So
can
it's
also,
magic. It's magic.
Yeah, and then but it's really cool about it, and so this is kind of I think why Phoenix added it. So the latest Phoenix update added it in. Is that if you want to, it's so cool from a user perspective because all of a sudden it makes it such that you have like a single balance for your Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And you can use it either for Lightning or on chain because you can splice out.
Yeah.
Or splice in. So if someone wants to if you have like a balance, let's say, I don't know, 1 million sats and you want to pay your friend for like 10,000 sats on chain for whatever reason, I don't know, you're just making an on chain payment, you can just splice it out of your channel. And it's the same.
And the channel stays open.
Yeah, and so you don't have to worry about your liquidity being on chain in a channel. Where is it? I don't know.
So it's not locked anymore inside the channel because that was all that liquidity locked into the Lightning network is
Lightning's
able to
not
splice
locked
in.
anymore. We're unlocking Lightning.
Yeah.
There we go.
Unlocking Lightning.
Wow, that's
There
good.
we go. Yeah.
Well,
That's the
unlocking
title.
Lightning. Yeah, that's the title.
No, but that's new.
It's so exciting.
It's exciting.
Yeah, but I feel your excitement too. Yeah. Okay, well, Lisa, great to talk to you
Really
again
great,
in person, and
Oh, and tonight, if you're free, then we host the meeting in Brai. It's a South African barbecue place, and it's near here. It's just other side of the street, and there we have the meetup. So
I'll be
buffet,
there.
food.
Yeah. Barbecue, I'm in.
And
Okay,
live music also, and
live music,
and
yes.
also a DJ, a very known DJ.
Bitcoin, you're making it
DJ.
very tempting now, I thought.
Is this Rutzel?
Yeah,
DJ
it is.
Rutzel? Okay.
You spoiled
Well
it.
known, yeah. Oh,
No,
sorry.
that
It's,
doesn't matter. This is not going to air before
Oh
that.
no, that's correct.
All right.
Okay, great. Thanks again,
thanks
Lisa.
again.
We keep in touch.